Um, can I move on to Tijs Bagchus from the Dutch Prison Service, who's representing the prison members of our group, Tijs?
Yes, thank you, Nick. Well, my name is indeed Tijs Bagchus. I'm with the Dutch Custodial Institutions Agency, Prison Service. And I will reflect on the importance of statistics for policy and practice regarding foreign detainees, because well, Space keeps statistics on prison population by nationality, and of course this is an important focus of our foreign nationals in prison and probation expert group. In January last year, the Netherlands had a total of approximately 10,000 inmates. 1/5 of them, approximately 2,000, has a foreign nationality. Well, this number of 20% foreign inmates in itself is not highly relevant. It's roughly equal to the average of all European countries. At least that's what the Space stats show. And from the perspective of the Dutch Prison Service, this population does not necessarily has to be extremely relevant, because foreign inmates who are allowed to reintegrate in Dutch society, in fact, have the same rights and privileges as any other Dutch inmate. That means they have the same facilities for probation, resocialization, reintegration, and possibilities to go on leave, access to early release, etc. In these respects, there are no difference between foreign and national inmates. And they are mixed with the regular population, and in practice there are no serious problems with language, for instance. The Dutch prison staff is almost as multicultural as the general population in Dutch prisons. However, Space also keeps statistics on the resident status of detainees in all countries. And I have to admit that my country, the Netherlands, cannot provide these figures on resident status of detainees. They're just not available. And this is quite embarrassing, because Dutch policy makes a clear distinction between detainees with and the detainees without legal residence. Focal point of Dutch policy is that criminal behavior has consequences for the resident status. And after a criminal conviction, immigration service checks if a residence permit can be revoked. And foreign nationals without legal residence are placed in a foreign national only prison. The men are placed in the prison in Ter Apel and the women are placed in Ter Peel. And I believe the Netherlands is one of the few countries in Europe to do so. I believe Norway and the UK has similar systems. And on the slide on your screen, you can see the total number of detainees without legal residence in the Netherlands. Most of them, the men, are in Ter Peel. Just a few women in Ter Peel, and some other detainees in the so-called specialties, psychiatric wards, terrorist units, and extra security units, and about 150 detainees still waiting for a transfer to Ter Apel. All in all, 530 foreign detainees in total. And on the next slide, you can see the top nationalities of influx of foreign detainees without legal residence in the Netherlands. Morocco, Algeria, and Poland are the top three. Well, just to give you an impression on the next slide, I've put some photos of, well, this PI Ter Apel, where a foreign nationals only prison. The next slide is prison in Ter Peel, where the women are placed. And on the next slide, there's the penitentiary psychiatric center where the foreign inmates with psychiatric problems are placed. The main reason for this policy, for this foreign nationals only prison, is to facilitate the repatriation and return service. This service is responsible for organizing the return to the country of origin immediately after the release from detention. And the regime in Ter Apel and Ter Peel is adapted for this purpose. Reintegration assistance is provided, not with a view to return in the Netherlands, but with a view to return in the country of origin. No leave in Dutch society in the final stages of detention is possible. Detainees are not eligible for early release after 2/3 of the detention, but on the other hand, detention can be suspended after 2/3 if and when repatriation is possible. Now, this policy requires a close cooperation between the penal system and administrative law. And every actor, prosecutor or judge, immigration or repatriation service needs to be informed about every step or decision in the process. Because every decision in the penal system can have an effect on administrative procedures and vice versa. And this requires a constant and reliable exchange of information between all parties involved. And therefore, a complex protocol for cooperation has been established. And on the whole, this policy is considered quite successful. About 80% of the detainees in Ter Apel return to their home country after release from prison. However, in this view, the success of this policy is only seen in a linear, straight process, starting with the arrest of the suspect, prosecution, conviction, prison sentence, and ending up in repatriation. And key performance issues, indicators have been identified to measure the influx, throughput, and outcome of this policy. In real life, however, this process is not that straightforward and simple. The reciprocal interference between penal and administrative law has many other possible outcomes than repatriation. For instance, it's perfectly feasible that after a conviction, the immigration service does not revoke a residence permit. And in this case, the detainee can, with the help of the probation service, prepare a successful return into Dutch society. Well, this too is a successful outcome of policy. The only thing is that this does not show in the figures, key performance indicators or statistics, since these focus exclusively on repatriation. And therefore, if we are to assess policy in terms of figures and statistics, great care has to be given to identify the truly relevant factor that determines success or failure of policy. And before we can supply space for the relevant stats to get rid of the embarrassing Dutch not available, a lot of homework has to be done in my own home country. Well, at this point, I can thank you for your kind attention and hand over the floor to Nick. Thank you, Nick.